This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday night. It's just gone past 8:15 as we're recording this. We've already got nearly 100 waiting in the wings to watch the show live as it goes out. And as always, we're going to be talking about the weekend's action. And the weekend's action is quite an emotional one. Oh boy, was it emotional. It was a beautiful, golden, sunny day at Molineux. It was a brilliant day. We were all in our short sleeves. The colours were everywhere. And there was a lot of emotion left on the pitch. It was a 100-minute game, as we already know, because they did seem to add, I thought there might be 6 minutes at the end, and they managed to find 9 and then an extra few seconds after that. Everton obviously got a vital equaliser, which could be massive for them. But obviously there were 6 changes to the team, which was very interesting to start with. Lopetegui, but we got in the lead. A fantastic goal from Adama, which we should come on to. But of course, there was emotional farewells. I say farewell rather than goodbye, because you can never say completely goodbye when it comes to the likes of Ruben Neves. So I'll say farewell. We saw him say farewell on the pitch with a tear in his eyes last year. Thought he was going, and he's been done another season. And obviously, he waved farewell. He won both the Players Player of the Year and the Fans Player of the Year. Our captain, fantastic. Obviously, the Molineux faithful sang songs for Joe Moutinho. We sang songs for Adama Traore. We sang songs for Johnny Otto. Ruben Neves, his song belted out. And of course, there was the singing of Si Senor for, our Mexican magician, Raul Jimenez, who didn't get on the pitch and wasn't too happy. And Lopetegui talked about that in his press conference. One of the questions we're going to be asking everyone tonight is, should Raul have gone on the pitch, or is there no room for sentiment in football? We're going to get stuck into all of that. We're going to have our usual in terms of talking about all the talking points of the game, moment of the day, highlight of the day, performance rating, man of the match, etc. We will be looking ahead to the final game of the season, talking a little bit about the relegation zone, and obviously Wolves will out of that. Looks like Forest have escaped, and it looks as like there's another 2 from 3 going out. That would be Leicester, Everton, and of course the final team stuck down there as well, Leeds. And the secret word is back this week. Can you spot the secret word? My challenge to all of our pundits tonight on the show is to make sure that they slot in the secret word, and for you guys to see whether you can spot it for the end. We have got a jam-packed show. We've got nearly 150 watching live. If you're watching this back on catch up, we hope you're enjoying it. Leave some comments. And if you're listening to it on the Always Wolves podcast, make sure that you subscribe to that as well. We have got a belter of a show. We've got debutants as well. So we have got a doctor in the house. It's Dr. Paul Mansell. How you doing, mate?
Still getting used to that. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, it's good to be back, and seems like most of my appearances have been in person with you at the matches, the away games, but good to chip into the show tonight.
Mate, I get complaints, if you're not on for it. I've got people that are not on for a little while. It's like, where are they? So it's good to have you back. Obviously, and I'm gonna be with you. I don't know how many times this week. Obviously, Thursday night we're going to the ENS podcast live together. We're going to go there. We're going to Arsenal together on next Sunday as well. So we've got, can't get rid of me, mate. We've also got the Golden Girl herself back tonight. Lucy, how you doing?
Hello, Dave. I'm all right, thank you, Chick. Not too bad. How are you?
Good, man. I'm good.
Both looking well.
I'm good, yeah. Beautiful day yesterday. Beautiful day today. Looks like the sun's out and summer's arrived. Looking forward to hearing your take on that. And back from a marathon where he sat down and had a chat live on BBC One. He's since been over and back to India. He got back in time and is already running another promotion to raise money for UK. It is my man, Manny. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. Lovely to see you guys again.
Absolutely, mate. Now, before we get started, Manny, onto the show tonight, you know, we often talk about Hoops with his wolf that's behind him, which if you stay tuned to the show, you'll see later. I've seen you put out on social. You've got this prize that was so popular last time. It's come back. You were yesterday at the Novotel getting this signed. Looks beautiful, but it's quite big. You've got a new raffle going, ain't you?
Yeah, as you can see, it's a wooden wolf head. It's about 3 foot high. So it looked good on wall. And it's signed in gold by about 17, I think, players. And it's also got Lopetegui's signature in there as well. A few more signatures to add this week. So we started the raffle £2 ago. Just usually, you know, the usual rules. Just donate on the Just Giving link that we use all year round. And for every £2, you get one entry. And we'll make the draw at 7 o'clock next Sunday after the final day of the season. So somebody somewhere is going to win that signed in gold. And it's got, like, you know, right at the bottom, you've got Raul and Ruben Neves there, and Adama Traore, Totti Gomez, or Joe Gomez.
What an absolutely fantastic prize. And it's, is it £10 for 5 goes?
Yeah, so multiples, there's many. You can donate £1,000 and you get 500 entries.
And you've already raised £1,000 since it's
it's coming up to £1,000, just short of £1,000 since we launched it. So it's, I mean, literally, as soon as I put it out, somebody contacted me and said, "I'll give you £1,000." And I said, no, I want to raffle it off, because when you raffle it off, it gives everybody a chance to win.
Exactly. You know, and I'll tell you what, I want my fair shout at winning that as well, because I'd love that, mate. So I'm going to get on that.
It is. It's a special. It's something different, isn't it? I mean, I'll show you a bit closer up just so you can see the.
Now, if you're listening to it on the podcast, Manny's now showing us how big this is. And it's literally, it's black. It's the Wolves logo, and all the signatures are signed beautifully from this year's squad in gold and pen. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Nelson Semedo, that's a second signature he's done this week. Really important one.
Yeah, absolutely. Because obviously the extension for 2 years, for a further 2 years. We've got a few people that are asking if we can post the link in the chat, Manny.
Yeah. So it's my normal Just Giving link, Dave. So I can just send it over to you on WhatsApp if you want to post it or whatever.
Yes, please, if you would be so kind, because then I can, if you can do that now, I'll put it into the chat.
Yeah, so basically, just open that link and just make a donation. Just leave your name, because people donate anonymous, and I don't know who's going to win it if you're anonymous, you know, and the winner is anonymous, you know.
Yeah, well, I've just posted the link there in the chat, guys. So if you do want to get on that, just go on to Thingy, donate, get in. It's a fantastic prize, and it's for an amazing cause to mention.
And we will. There's somebody from Australia that donated, whatever it costs, even if it costs me 150 quid, I'll send it anywhere, all around the world, whatever weight. So anywhere around the world, we'll get it to you.
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant, and we will remind people on that before the end of the show as well. Paul, mate, again, obviously, see all your stuff that you're doing with Staffordshire University. Again, it should remind them that this season, Paul's, become a doctor, which is fantastic, and a regular member of the in-person podcast. But Paul, let's get stuck into, yesterday. What would you like to say about yesterday?
Well, we didn't start too well, did we, really? And when we scored in the first half, I think it was probably against the run of play. Not that they were carving us open and creating chance after chance, but they were putting some decent balls in the box. And if anyone looked more likely to score, it was probably them. After that point, I think we were the better side, and perhaps a little unfortunate not to double our lead. Particularly enjoyed watching that run by Nunes back.
It was a great run. I tell you what pace! I didn't realise he had so much pace. He went past him.
Blistering pace, because he was up against Garner, I think it was, who's not slow himself, but he really ate up the ground, didn't he? And we've been crying out for a midfielder centrally, particularly, who can operate at such a pace. So having gone ahead, perhaps against the run of play, and then built a fairly solid, they never really looked like scoring. It was a real shame that in the 90 plus 10th minute that it ended in a draw. But overall, that's still 7 home wins from our last 10 matches. Looking really tight at the back, very few goals conceded. But just a shame that it had to end in that way right at the death.
Absolutely. I mean, it was one of them things. I mean, like, we were talking about added time, funnily enough. Someone said next to me, I think it's about 5 minutes. And I says, I think it'd probably be about 6. When the board came up for 9 minutes, it was like, didn't Ruben or talk about the...
it was strange. He apparently asked the ref, where did the 9 minutes come from? And the ref indicated to him that they've been told that they must add on all injury time in these last 2 games of the season. Number one, that means they don't add on all injury time. That's what you're supposed to do. And number two, how can you decide in the last 2 games that you're going to do what you did in the World Cup? That's the kind of thing he indicated. So the ball in play, and if the ball's out of play, they stop the watch. So it's a little bit being strict every time the ball goes out of play. But I don't know. I just find it, when it went up 9, everybody was shocked. I mean, there was the odd injury, 5, maybe 6 at the push, 9, and they scored in the 10th. So it was ridiculous, wasn't it? I mean, to be fair, that last 3 or 4 minutes that we seem to have because they were throwing the kitchen sink, they're battling for their lives. The keeper was coming up. It was going to happen, and the more minutes that were added on, the more chance they were going to have. And in the end, I think Bentley will be a little bit disappointed, and they scored and scrambled one over the line. So I think they got away with it. They didn't look like scoring after we'd taken the lead. I thought we controlled the game. Maybe our same problem as all season. We just can't get that second and third and put the game to bed.
And it's cost us again. In fact, Paul referenced the surging run from Nunes, which we talked about him being able to run with the ball, and we saw it. And to be honest, it was a good save from Pickford. He stuck his foot out. It
was exactly the same as what Adama did. The same run at the same angle, just at different ends, exactly the same. And he went past the last man, and he had a cross shot to the other side of Pickford, who then parried the ball out. When Adama did it, Hwang was there. When Nunes did it, nobody was there. It just went past the post, so it was a finer touch. But those were probably our 2 best moments of the game. Those surging runs, they really edge of the seat stuff, and hopefully something to look forward to with him. It just seems like he's come on in the last month or so. He's that right hand side of midfield. Let's be honest, he's played everywhere. Fair play to him. He's literally played across all positions in midfield, and that right-hand side position sort of suits him, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I'm going to come on to you, Lucy, because Lopetegui has talked about Nunes. And I think he said it's quite interesting because obviously there's been speculation about Nunes and, is he here for a year and then he's off to Liverpool, what, blah, blah, blah. For me, it's like he's on a 5-year contract. We're not selling him for 45 million and making a £2 million profit. Someone's going to come in and pay 60, 70 million for us to let him go with that such a long-term contract. And I can't say anyone's going to, after in and out form this year that's going to come in with that. And Lopetegui said we will see the best in Núñez next year. So already that's sending the message that Núñez is going to be here. What have your thoughts on that? And we are going to talk about Raul and Neves and Moutinho and all of these because it's important we do talk about it. But like, you were obviously at the game yesterday, beautiful day, Lucy. I mean, what were your thoughts and talking points that you want to bring up?
Generally, I thought it was a good game across the board. It was very dull at times. So I just thought, blooming it, boys, stick a rocket up your bottoms and, do something, The passing was, it was as if they didn't know where to put the ball at times. I thought Daniel Bentley had a fantastic game yet again. Some of the saves he made were superb. Another one that really, really shone for me was Joe Gomez. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That lad does not stop. I think you're right to bring up Gomez because you've seen like he's going to be such a big player for us next year, Joe Gomez. Yeah. Obviously, especially if Neves does go. And I know I say if Neves does go because like I don't want to get too carried away because we all did this last year. Goodbye, Neves. See you. Brilliant. We love you. He gone. Yeah. We all accepted he'd gone, and then it didn't happen. And obviously, Paul, I'm going to come to you on this with regards to Neves. It's been widely reported that personal terms with Barcelona has been agreed, but I think personal terms with Barcelona were probably agreed a year ago because he packed all his stuff and was going. And it seems to me that Neves really does have his heart set on him going to play for Barcelona. But again, from all reports, they're looking at all different options and Neves is hanging on waiting for them. And there's also reports, again, that they don't want to pay any money. They want a player exchange. What's your take on that, Paul?
The deal's got to suit us primarily. I mean, yes, we wish him well if he does go and we want him to be happy, but we're his employers. We've paid his wages for 6 years. We took a chance on bringing him to England. So, I still think that we do have some strength in the bargaining position. And I feel a lot more confident about that scenario now than when Scott Sellers was here. So I'm not counting any chickens either way. And I thought his interview yesterday was really honest and interesting. How he said that, he does want to move to a Champions League club. Well, I guess we kind of know that, don't we, as a fan base, and we don't begrudge him the opportunity to do that. No. But he also said that he's really happy here. And if, he said that he's always a wolf or words along those lines recently. So it's definitely not a dead in the water scenario. And I know that the way that he came off yesterday in that pre-planned, perhaps, substitution looked like it was,
minutes.
Yeah, looked like it was a goodbye. But nothing is done until it's done. And if he does go, it has to be for a deal that suits us. And I know it's been rumoured about like a swap rather than having money. And we've got to be really careful with that. Because that player that does end up coming this way has got to be someone that Lopetegui genuinely wants and would genuinely make the squad better. So we need to be really careful with that. And I've got an open mind on it. I haven't given up either way. And I also haven't given up on him going on a free next year, because if we got another year out of him and he was outstanding again, then to me, that's probably worth it when you consider what we paid for him in the first place. We still had a bargain.
Mate, you think about again, I'm going to come back onto Manny because I'm sure Manny's got an opinion on this as well in regards to Neves in a second. But like when I look at Ruben Neves, and we have talked about it, haven't we, at various points throughout doing the Always Wolves podcast. He came as a very young man, into the Championship. It was such a talent. Captain of Porto. We thought 2 years, we might have him. 3, great. Yeah. Now we're at 6 years, 250 odd appearances, so many magical moments. He genuinely has grown from a young
from a boy into a man here at with his family and his kids, and he loves Wolverhampton, and you can see that. And he's a true captain and a true gentleman, and you know, he's a shining example of what a human being should be. He earns a lot of money, he's a big star, but he's humble, you know. And you know, Manny, I mean, what's your take on that? On
you know what, his interview the other day was a copy and paste last season. He said the same things: big clubs, Champions League, short career, but I'm happy at Wolves. So he said exactly the same thing that he said last year. Nothing different. And he knows it's a short career. But, you know, I think people sometimes underestimate contentment for a lack of ambition. Sometimes people are content and at peace with themselves. He's got a lovely partner. He's got, you know, young kids who are brought up in this town. They're all very comfortable, all of them. And that ambition of having a peaceful family and happy family is a bigger ambition than winning a bloody title for me, if you think about what life's goals should be. And maybe he's just a really grounded, humble human being who thinks, yeah, okay, if I get a chance and I go to a big club and I do well, fair enough. But if I don't, then I'm actually really, really happy here. So, it could be that nobody comes in for him. You know, Barcelona, the deal's there, but in terms of personal terms, because Ruben ain't going to argue about pennies with a move to Barcelona, obviously. But there's all the rumours, every indication is that they don't really want him. You know, okay, Gundogan, who's like just led Man City to the title, Barcelona rumoured like really, really interested in him, and maybe he might be leaving City. So, you know, they've got lots of irons, and if Ruben's third or fourth or fifth down the pecking order for Barcelona, sometimes you think, well, okay, yeah, I might play in the Champions League, but I might not, because I might just be sitting on the bench, you know. And does he really want that? In the really prime highlight, you know, twilight of his career, going into his late 20s and into his 30s, he'll want to play football right here, right now. So it's not cut and dry, and somebody might come out the blue, you know, some big team might come out the blue who think, you know, maybe someone like in Newcastle, because they've made the Champions League, and we don't want him to go to another Premier League club, and he probably prefers going somewhere else. But when an offer comes on the table, then I'm sure, you know, changes things for him, for anybody. It's not, he can't just comment on any club because no one's made any offer. The only thing that we keep hearing about is Barcelona, but it didn't happen last year, and it might not happen this year. You know, Barcelona's finances aren't the greatest, and they're jiggling things about. So, I think he knows, and we know that it may be the end. So obviously, there's going to be that emotion at the last game between the players and himself, because he might not be there, but he might be lining up for us again. But for me, whether he goes or not, we're actually now blessed in the midfield. You know, Lamina, Núñez, Traoré, Gomez. You know, potentially Luke Cundle coming back off a really good loan spell. You know, these players, we've got actually 5 or 6 good players there.
You've got Ryan Giles as well, who's coming back. He's done great over at Middlesbrough too. Who's another young talent. We've got to obviously balance the player, international player. We're right on the edge with that. I mean, the Neves thing, which is going to be the talk of the summer. We'll wait and see what happens. This is why I'm saying farewell, not goodbye, because it's never fair. Yeah. It's never goodbye with Ruben Neves. And it said the Barcelona thing doesn't happen, he probably would sign a new contract. Obviously, people mentioned the likes of Newcastle getting Champions League and stuff like that. You know, I'd rather him go abroad and play than play against us. But, you know, Lucy, what's your take on Neves?
Oh, where do I start? Blooming heck, I was crying when he came on yesterday, let alone when he went off. He's just an amazing person, as well as an astonishing player. We've been so lucky to have him play for our team for 6 years. We've got to remember that we are so lucky. As as it's been already been said, you know, his family are settled here. It's been reported that they actually bought the house last year that they were renting. They actually bought it. So they were obviously settled, else they wouldn't have done that, would they? They'd carried on renting.
Yeah.
In a way, it is heartbreaking if he does go, but I want him to do what he feels he needs to do at the same time. I'd love him to sign a new contract. That would, you know, just make everything good, wouldn't it? Of course it would. But no, he's got to do what's right for him and his family. And, you know, if he feels that a move to Barcelona would do that, then that's fine. But as for their finances, I can't see them affording.
This is the interesting question with Barcelona and stuff on like that. Paul, you know, we've got like to bring the elephant in the room here, and obviously, if you don't know Paul, I mean, it's if you want to tell everyone that what you do, it's the psychological side of sport that you look into, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, and so yesterday, Raul's on the bench. He doesn't come on. He's obviously not happy, although the fans sing his name when he's going around the pitch. And you saw that Raul was very, very emotional with his family walking around the pitch. You saw the emotion in him. Joe Moutinho wasn't even there at Molineux. And I think you've got a quote that you've dug out about that that you want to share. And then Pedro Neto wasn't there. Johnny Otto wasn't there. What do you make into all of those? Should Raul have come on? What's your insight about Moutinho and Johnny Otto not being there after such long-standing servants?
Where do you start with that question? You could go down so many rabbit holes, couldn't you? Perhaps I'll just talk about the Jimenez part first, and I'll let someone else go on the others. But in some ways, we almost said goodbye to him, really, 2.5 years ago, didn't we, when he had that injury? He's been so brave in coming back from a life-threatening injury. But really, we lost the Jimenez that we knew on that day. No more have we had our 27-goal-a-season striker, one of the best strikers in Europe at the time, without doubt. It's been so strange how he hasn't featured really since the start of March, wasn't it? I think he played at Leeds, and his only minutes since was about 3 minutes on the pitch at Old Trafford last weekend.
And he hadn't even been in the squad for a little while either, without out the squad. Which
is really strange, because if you cast your mind back to Spurs at home, we won 1-0 that day, and I thought he played really well. And I thought this really bodes well for the final couple of months of the season. You know, he's going to be the man that's going to lead the line. Costa's going to supplement him, coming off the bench, maybe playing alongside sometimes. But I think we don't know all the facts clearly in the situation. It's a bit of a riddle, isn't it, really, as to why he's not only been on the bench, but not been included, especially when goals have been our problem. But I'm not too fussed overall that he didn't come on as a sub. I think he should have. You know, if you've brought Diego Costa on instead, why would you not? You know, you could bring Jimenez on, couldn't you? And you haven't lost anything. So I think it was a bit strange that he didn't. But I personally don't feel too upset about it, because we all still got to say goodbye when he was walking around the pitch afterwards, or have that kind of special moment. So in hindsight, Lopetegui probably wishes that he had brought him on, but I don't think it's a massive thing for me personally, because I still got to have that moment when he was walking around the pitch. And more of a mystery as to why in the last 2 months he hasn't featured. And as I said earlier, it's almost like we lost him that day at the Emirates when he had that injury in some ways. So very sad. Tim Spears used the word in a tweet today, or the words emotional and unique. And I think that's a really good words to describe his relationship and his situation with the fans.
Well said. Manny, I'm sure you want to come in on
yeah,
that.
you know what, Paul, I agree with you. I cannot believe the reaction from a lot of fans really laying into Lopetegui for not playing Raul. You know, yes, we would have liked for him to have come on for 5 minutes and have a, you know, but he did that anyway. For me, he came on the pitch, he clapped the fans, he had his name sung. That's all he would have done anyway.
Yeah. Not sure what it would have added him really coming onto the pitch.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what's happened to the screen.
We can still see you and hear you from our end.
Sorry. Okay, let me just sorry, I can't see anything. So yeah, I thought, you know, he still came on the pitch. The fans still clapped his name and sang his song and clapped him. And yes, it would have been nice for him to have played. But when Paul says, like, we go back to March, since March, we've done really well. So we've been playing, we've been getting results with a really good centre forward called Diego Costa, who's been playing really, really well. So as soon as I think the safety element came and we made ourselves safe, I'm pretty sure then Lopetegui starts pinpointing players that he probably doesn't see having a future at Wolves, and Raul probably is one of them, because obviously otherwise he'll play him, won't he? If he thinks Raul's got a future at Wolves, he'll be playing him. So he obviously has made his mind up on Raul. He hasn't got a future at Wolves, and I think he's just sometimes as a manager, you're 1-0 up. You've won 4 on the bounce at home. You're now going for a record 5 wins on the bounce at home, and the winning the match becomes your dominant thought, not let's give Raul. And people have to understand that in the heat of the moment, where if you're looking at the bench and think, I've got to freshen up my strikers, I'm going to bring Costa on because that's a guy who's got us all the wins recently to keep us up, you know, the guy who's led the line. So it's quite natural to go to that person because you want to hang on and get that win. And in hindsight, obviously he probably thinks, oh yeah, bloody hell, maybe should have given him 5 minutes there. It's happened now. So if it's a mistake, he's made a mistake. Okay, fair enough. But we don't have to then lay into him and he's vindictive and he's this and he's absolutely awful and I've lost respect for him. I haven't lost any respect for Lopetegui because he's made a mistake. You know, anyone ever made a mistake before? Raul still came on the pitch. He still got clapped. We still sang his song just like we would. We love him. He knows the fans love him. He was crying because he saw the reaction from the fans. If the fans didn't sing his name, he wouldn't be crying, would he? The fans were singing his name. He knows the fans love him, and that's all that matters. He was obviously a player that is not going to be here next year. You know, it seems fairly obvious from Lopetegui's actions. Now, knowing Lopetegui, he'll probably start him against Arsenal. They'll bang in a couple of goals and give him a contract extension.
Someone said to me the other day, actually, how apt would it be if he? I was talking about that. If he comes on and scores a header in the last 10 minutes to win the game in the very goal where he had the injury to finish his Wolves career, how sort of like magical would that be?
It would be quite magical. And Arsenal have now got nothing to play for, and it's pretty much a nothing, meaningless game. You know, all those fans dreaming of selling their tickets for 10 grand each are all gutted, but you know. It is, and maybe he might get, you know, Lopetegui might in hindsight think, oh bloody hell, maybe I'll just give him 10 minutes just to appease a few people who are a little bit upset. But I don't think we should be too upset. The guys come in, got 31 points, took us clear. We're going to finish 13th or 14th from being rock
insane bottom. From where we were. If we'd have said we got, how many of us would have said we got to get 40 points?
Yeah, clap the manager and don't really lay into him for not giving Raul 5 minutes. It was a wrong decision, and we would all love to have seen him out there, but it's not the end of the world. And Raul, in hindsight, you know, Raul will realise that as well. His family and his health is more important, and he still knows the fans love him.
Absolutely. Can I just add something in here as well to the context? Last week, most people wouldn't have seen this because. You know, I went to Old Trafford last week. At half time, Jimenez came out to warm up straight away when the teams went back down the tunnel to the dressing rooms. And he didn't have a training top on or anything. He had his full kit on. So that put the message out, oh, he's coming on at half time.
Yeah.
he didn't come on until pretty much like the 88th minute in that game. And the fans gave him such a warm reception, really sang his song for ages. But then when the final whistle went, he went straight down the tunnel and didn't come over to the fans.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So there is definitely something not right between the two of them. It looked like he was about to come on at halftime and didn't. So that's probably brassed him off a bit, and then didn't come over to the fans who were singing his name at the final whistle last week. And I don't think that's really been flagged up, but something fishy going on, I think, behind the scenes between those two.
Absolutely. Right, Lucy, over to you. So your highlight or moment of the day it doesn't have to be the match. It could be anything. You could have had a nice little salad or after or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Your man of the match and your performance rating.
Right. Okay. So performance rating, I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8, yeah.
8 for me. I'm going to give it Joe Gomez, because
Joe Gomez is your man of the match.
His work ethic was fantastic yesterday. My moment of the day was going to see an old school friend. It was her 40th. I was 42 weeks ago. So it was lovely to all get together, all the school friends. So yeah, that was my moment of the day, to be honest.
Absolutely, fantastic. And you were there at the game yesterday.
Yes, I was. Absolutely. I was. And yes, I cried.
And you were like part of it when you were singing the songs, like you were in a concert, like singing the Raul song, singing Neves' song and stuff like that. It was Molineux was loud yesterday, wasn't it?
I was just about to say the decibels were just like being at a concert. It was deafening at points. The Si Senor was so loud yesterday. It was unreal. And the who for Ruben. Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was brilliant yesterday. It was just a proper Wolves atmosphere again yesterday. It was just great. Absolutely great. It should be every single game, not just ones where, you know, it's coming to the end of the season. It should be like that all the time. Win, lose or draw, let's get behind them and enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well said. Paul, same question to you. Highlight moment of the day, performance rating and man of the match, and why?
Yeah, I can't quite give it as high as Lucy, I'm afraid. I'm going to say a 6. We needed that second goal to kill it off. And let's face it, Everton are a poor team. I mean, you only have to look at the team they finished up with on the pitch. No strikers. Michael Keane at right back, really poor side, and we let them off the hook. So 6 is my match rating. In terms of man of the match, I want to recognise Wang. I think he made a difference yesterday, and I think he was making some really good runs in behind the defence to stretch the defence. And that's something we've perhaps not done very well over recent years. So credit to him, but my man of the match is Craig Dawson. He seemed to head out almost every cross that came in, and I thought he's also underrated as a footballer on the ball. So for me, Craig Dawson was my man of the match. My moment of the day was probably actually just driving home in the car with my girls after the match and just thinking about our home form since Christmas and reflecting on how well we've done. We won 7 out of 10 at home since Christmas. And if you take the Leeds game out of that, we've barely conceded a goal. And for me personally, my girls have gone from being kind of semi-interested in football to having gold and black running through their blood now. So it was just a happy moment for me to think about since Christmas and how they've changed as proper supporters now.
That's a really good one. That is, yeah, I really like that, Paul. That's really nice.
Getting soft in my old age, aren't I?
Well, you are. And guys, we've got literally watching live. We've got over 250 of you watching live. So thank you ever so much for taking time on your Sunday evening to join us. I much appreciate that. And if you do want to get involved in the chat, please make sure that if you do subscribe, you can get involved in the chat as well. And why don't you guys, as we've got so many of you watching, let us know where in the world you are watching from at the moment, and be interesting to see what locations come up. Manny, to close this
Yep.
segment of the show, same questions to you. Moment highlight of the day, performance rating, man of the match.
Moment of the day, it's two moments I'm going to say. One was when I was getting this signed, was Matheus Cunha. Now, there's a player that knew very little about. Most players were coming up, signing it and walking off. And he literally wanted to know what it was for, which charity, what we were doing. And he was just genuinely really, really interested. And there's somebody whose first language isn't even English, So for that type of character to be at the club, you just saw someone that's pretty special to have at the club.
That's really nice, that is.
We
took
need
a real
those.
interest.
Yeah, I mean, because these players are really busy. A lot of them got their headphones on. They quickly sign and the walk off. And he's genuinely really, really interested, and he wanted to know. And so that was a really nice moment, because you get to know somebody. If we've lost the likes of Cody, and if Neves goes, and we know the kind of humans they were, and we need new ones. We need new heroes, don't we? And new good souls at the club, and him and Costa as well, and Dawson's like the signing of the season. So that was it. That was a big moment. The other moment was Adama Traore. Literally, when he picks the ball up outside his penalty area, and 10 seconds later is like on the edge of theirs. If that had gone in, we would have won goal of the season 3 months running for the first club ever in the Premier League.
Probably would have as well.
Nobody would have beaten that. That would have been, and the guy, and you just think that is.
He went past 7 players.
That is what you go to football for, and that edge of the seat stuff. So that was a good moment. Of course, it was a good moment. We know he doesn't do it often enough, but if that's the end memory for him, then it's a good memory for us. Performance rating, I can't really give it more than, I agree with Paul, about a 6. We controlled the game. If we'd won 1-0, I would have still only given it a 6, really. We just did enough, I thought, for the win. My man of the match, I'm going to give it to the most improved player under Julian Lopetegui, is Hwang Hee-chan. Just looks so rejuvenated, running for everything, really confident, smiling. He's smiling as well. When he went through that bad patch, he saw Hwang. He wasn't smiling, and he had his head down, and he was trudging off the pitch, and he seemed like he had no friends and nowhere to turn to, and so he could be a really big player for under Lopetegui. So I'm going to give it to him. Some like something different to what most people go for, I suppose. And the thing I want to end on is the Raul situation is not the biggest one, but obviously Moutinho, Johnny, and Neto. Ryan Aït-Nouri, we know he's been frozen out for weeks and weeks and weeks, so he hasn't really been seen. But those 3, what happened? This is the big thing that, what has happened. And João Moutinho is the last person you would think, because again, he's just such a really nice guy, really humble, really good with the fans. You would, even when he wasn't in the squad, I just, expected all 3 of them to suddenly appear in that, Kalajdzic appeared, didn't he? Sasa Kalajdzic appeared from nowhere. When he ran on the pitch, my son was saying, don't run, you'll get injured, don't run." So what happened? That is a bit of a mystery, and we need to know, because really, that's not like Moutinho. So what has happened?
Well, when we pay their wages, we need to know these things at the end of the day.
Because that's not like him, isn't it?
What did Lopetegui say on his quote, Paul, about Moutinho? You've got that quote, haven't you?
Yeah, it says here, João Moutinho was in my mind to be involved today, but it's not just about me. I have to respect the player's will, and I have to respect his situation.
I think he's got a move lined up. And maybe he doesn't want to play to jeopardise his move or something like that. But you'd still expect him to turn up just to have the lap, wave at the fans, say goodbye, and
he's loved. And he knows he's
very surprising.
I've been there to appreciate it.
I did find that really surprising. I mean, I'm surprised that Neto wasn't there. I mean, unless he got another injury, but like because he played like the week before. I know he got substituted at half time because he had a poor game last week. But like, I don't. It's very strange, and these are the things that you.
The funny thing was in the hotel when we was getting all the signatures signed, one player walked past us twice, didn't stop for any fans, didn't sign anything. Had a sulky face on him. Was Daniel Pedence, all right? And we thought he's been dropped here, and we got to the ground and he started. I thought, bloody hell!
Did he not sign me? Did he not sign me?
He didn't stop for any kids. He didn't stop for anybody. He just walked back and forth.
It's the same after the match, actually. My girls wanted to meet one or two after the match, and Pedence was one of the first out and went straight through, windows up, shaking his head. In contrast, Max Kilman probably spent best part of half an hour, 40 minutes doing it. And
all the players are really good, to be fair. But he was.
Podence has got that thing in him, hasn't he?
He is a sulky little kid, and he's probably thinking. All these kids are taller than me. I'm not going to sign anything for them.
I know, it's crazy. Right, just a quick one, just to finish on. Literally, just all it is. Are you going next week? And score prediction, Lucy.
I'm going. I've never been before. I'm really, really excited. If Forest can beat them, so can we. So I'm going to say 1-0.
1-0 Wolves v Arsenal. Paul, I know you're going because we're going in the car together.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Got a bit of fear about this one, actually. I feel like Arsenal might want to put on a bit of a show for their fans, having missed out on the title. So I think we could be in for a bit of on the wrong end of a bad result. And our away form's terrible, isn't it? So I have to say I'm not going.
So on that basis, we're bound to win, aren't we? Because it's so Wolves.
Yeah, but I mean, a good start is that they've only won at home, keeping a clean sheet twice this season, and we've done it 9 times. So there are some things that we can point to. I mean, Southampton went there and scored 3 goals, didn't they, the other week? But I do worry that maybe now the title race is definitely over, they might feel a bit more free again and put on a bit of a show. But who knows? I'll be looking forward to the whole day anyway, and I'll be missing it when it's gone for a couple of months.
Yeah,
absolutely nice one. And Manny, finally to you.
I actually think the opposite. I think they'll be absolutely devastated. 11 points clear, best chance they'll ever get. They ain't going to win the title again. They're never going to be in that position again. They're in a super position. And Man City, fair play. 12 wins in a row. That's really hard to keep up. But then they've had some really poor results. So I think they're there for the taking personally, and maybe we'll break our way hoodoo against Arsenal. So. But I'm not going myself. I have got a ticket. I was going to go, and I've got a ticket.
You ain't sold it for 28,000 for
someone. I said it. It's got my name. It's got my name autographed all over it. It's got my name.
They have actually. We've had the tickets come. It's got your names on it.
Yeah, it's got. Look, it's got. I got it here. Look, it's got my.
That's it. Yeah, they have. They got your name.
My name on it. So that's just going to go on a. That's just going to go on a wall. I think. Anybody start your bidding. Start bidding at $5,000. Anybody? So I think it'll just be on the beach. End of
Sundays
season.
Are always a difficult day for you anyway, aren't they? Because you do.
Yeah, they are. I'm quite busy next week, to be fair, and but it'll be hopefully. I think as soon as you secure your future, you just really want the season to end then, because you want the summer to come. Get rid of 20p, Merv. Okay, any advance on 20p? Merv, that's pretty generous for Merv. No, no. I think it'll just get the game over and done with, and hopefully we have a positive summer, and he gets the 1 or 2 players that he needs to bring. Well, maybe more that he needs to bring in.
Absolutely, well said, and a great point to finish on. And don't forget, the Wolf in the background is available. Bid on already over £1,000. You can win that. Manny's going to be stalking the players for the rest of the week to try and get the other 4 signatures.
It's funny, the ones I'm after are Otto, Neto and Moutinho, the three. I'll have to ask him what the hell's gone on there. So they probably might be hard to bloody track down. To be fair,
you might have to kidnap Pedence.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
No, fantastic, guys! Thank you so much for opening the show. Much appreciated. It's been a fantastic first half of the show, and let's enjoy the rest of the season. At the end of the day, we are Premier League. There is a lot of emotion this time of the year with players, but at the end of the day, we're not going to really know until what happens in the summer. But thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Take care.
Absolutely brilliant opening to the show there. Fantastic. And boy, if you think the first half, oh man, he's back. Hello. But the second half,
Get rid of me.
It's back again. Sorry, mate. Anyway, bye again.
Bye.
Tennis soon. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
man, we're going to get back on it. Yeah.
We have. Cheers. I'm sorry, I took Manny off and then put him back on again. And then Paul obviously dropping off. If you thought the first half of the show was good, the second half is going to be absolutely brilliant as well. So we have Josh.
You're right, Dave.
He's been off for a couple of weeks. Hello, mate. How are you?
All good, all good. Glad it's warm weather time now, finally.
We're getting some more bids for this ticket for Manny. Like we've got £5 and 2 cauliflowers been offered here by Tim. But fantastic, yeah. No, brilliant. And we've also got coming on with oh my God, the wolf has changed. We've talked about the other wolf, and there he is in the background. He's actually got the kit on today, mate.
Yeah, you can't bid on this one, I'm afraid. But yeah, he's got the kit on. It's been a long season for him, but yeah, evening from both of us.
He looks happy.
He does look happy, doesn't he? Actually, I don't know what he's been up to, but yeah, he looks quite happy. So yeah, he's a little less tired than I am, but no, he's doing good.
Fantastic. And of course, we had a near rebellion last week because he weren't on. Next up, Sutty.
Good evening, people.
Good evening. What track have you got on today, mate? We need to see.
Bit of a lease tonight.
Oh, very, very, very swish indeed. Regular viewers of the channel will know that Sutty is sponsored by some retro tracksuit manufacturer, and he comes on with a different one each week, which is fantastic.
Scots.
And guys, we do have a debutant tonight. A debutant, last but one game of the season. But we've got Jack Kerwin, massive Wolves fans, always here waiting patiently on the show. And Jack, welcome.
Thank you, mate. Hello, everyone. I'm a bit
Hello,
nervous, to be honest. I'm a bit nervous. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Do you know what? That amazes me that you're nervous, because you're someone that I always think is so full of confidence. Because you do stage shows, for anyone that don't know, tell everyone what your alter ego is.
So my alter ego is Gary Poundland. I'm a stand-up comedian. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Gary, we were talking earlier about the fact I went to the Louder event at the Halls, which was the old Civic. A few of us will remember Cheeky Monkeys and Blast Off, and back in the day, there's a lot of big groups and comedians and stuff that played there. And of course, the Civic's been redone. The test event was on Friday. I went. The sound system was incredible, and you are playing from what I was told by the AEG guy, you're playing the main stage, not the smaller stage. You're playing the main stage, aren't you?
Yes, mate. This is a right plug on the 23rd of June. Yeah, we're in the big room. It's going to be good because I think we'll be the first comedians on there since it's reopened, and obviously being from Wolverhampton, it's a big deal. So we're part of the history in that way now. Once it's done.
Well, there you are. I'll put it on the screen for you now. So you've got a few friends that are coming along as well, mate.
Yeah, that's just me in different wigs.
You in different wigs and stuff like that.
Women's clothes.
Fantastic. So listen, it is the 23rd of June. It is at the new halls. So plenty of time to get your tickets to go. And if you ever wanted to see Gary Poundland actually live in Wolverhampton, there's your chance in it, mate.
That's it. I just want to point out as well to people that I've been doing stand-up for about 13 years now. So I don't want anybody to think it's just a big fat bloke ranting on stage who doesn't know what he's talking. It is an actual show, actual written show sort of thing. So yeah, it'd be great to have local support.
Fantastic, mate.
Thanks for the plug, Dave. Thank you.
No, it's welcome. It's always good to support like different, local people and stuff like that. And it's great that you're making your debut. And that's why I find it quite amusing in a way, because you're standing on a big stage as a comedian, used to heckles and all this sort of thing and the banter that goes on along, and and you're nervous coming on here, and you let you play to a big arena like that. That amazes me.
I suppose it's the Wolves thing really, because of the comedy stuff. You sort of get people who might think he ain't really a Wolves fan, but I am. I'm Wolves born and bred, so I suppose it's not wanting to embarrass myself. Like get a players. A couple of years back, I was calling Cavallero Costa at the top of my voice in the Billy Wright lower, and my nephew laughed at me and had to correct me. So it's just not wanting to make a fool of myself, ironically enough.
Well, we've got a great community here as well, and it's always good to have a lot of opinions. And we're going to get obviously stuck into a lot of things. Josh, do you want to? I mean, we've got over 250 odd people watching live as well. So please, if you're enjoying it, smash a like. If you want to join in the chat, make sure you subscribe. Then you can actually join in the chat as well. And as I say, we've got people. We've got people all around the world watching live and watching this back and listening to it on the podcast. Josh, let's get stuck in to start with. Do you want to kick it off the second half of the show with anything that you want to say? It could be around the game yesterday. It could be about some of the other topics that we've talked about already, which we will get onto.
So I'm going to go straight into the game. I'll come on to the other bits in a bit. I don't think it was one of our best games this season at home. But I don't think they really laid a glove on us until literally the last second of the game. I'm going to come to it again. I'll say it near enough every time I'm on. The officiating is getting worse and worse and worse. When Will Keane come on and decided he can take long throw-ins, his foot was halfway up his back both times. The liner was standing right by him by the safe bank and didn't do anything. Twice he did it. And I'm like, how can a professional footballer get away with having his foot right by his back taking a throw-in? It was unbelievable, that was. It was shocking. That's been mown over. I said it wasn't our best, but I thought midfield looked all right. Defence looked tight until the end again. I don't think anything troubled him. I don't think Calvert-Lewin troubled him when he was on. Damari Gray usually rings round us. And I don't think he did anything again. I think a draw was a flattering result for them, to be honest. Massive point for them in the grand scheme of things. But it was we should have been 2 or 3 up with 20 minutes to go. We had Nunes a chance, and then there was I can't remember who it was that should score the third, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's been our Achilles year all season, hasn't it? Not getting the killer goal and stuff. And it's cost us a few times, to be honest. And I felt it in some ways yesterday at the game. It was like, are they going to add however long it was to? I think it was the producer, Emma, that said to me, it's like some of the decisions was like, well, let's keep Everton in. The Premier League brigade was in full force yesterday, and they were going to add 9 minutes on. Ruben talked about that. Paul mentioned it. For the last 2 games, they're going to make sure that there's no time wasting. They're going to play on. If you're in the middle of a competition, any competition, you don't change the rules halfway through. It's like you either do it all the way through the season and you add every bit on. So we get used to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 minutes of added time on every game, because it's all right them saying that for me for the last 2 games of the season, because something like that happened that could affect promotion, relegation, European spots. But what about the 36 games before that
a goal could have gone in and could have affected things and stuff like that. That's what really riles me sometimes with regards to that. Hoops, that frustrates me. I mean, what are your thoughts on that and what Josh has had to say?
Yeah, no, I think agreeing with Josh there. I mean, I didn't expect a lot from us, to be honest, because we're safe and we've seen the Brighton and the United performances. So I wasn't expecting much from us, but for a game that was so significant for Everton, I expected a little bit more fight from them. I thought, where was the closing down? Where was the crunching tackles? And so from their perspective, I expected more and the game to be a little bit more lively, but it had that end of season feel for two teams that really one team, there should have been more on it. And ultimately, they've probably got an invaluable point, which may be enough to keep them up. But from our perspective, we were probably slightly better than what I expected. My expectations were low because the context of the game, I didn't know how committed we were going to be. So from our side, I thought we were okay. And obviously there was a number of changes that had been made as well. So, but yeah, really for Everton, I can't believe they're going to be staying up because they look shocking. And obviously they had a lot of enforced changes early on as well, which contributed. So yeah, for us, it was a game which, I didn't want it to feel like, and we'll get onto the Raw stuff and Martini, I didn't want it to feel like a testimonial, but I didn't expect a lot from us. But I think there were some positives there, maybe going into next season, like to Hwang and Gomez. But disappointed not to have saw the game out, and it looked like there was an individual error, wasn't there, with the goal ultimately. So yeah, a little disappointed, but nothing we would lose sleep on. I probably would have been going away from that game more concerned if I was an Everton fan than from us. I think we'll have enough in the summer to hopefully have a better season next time out.
Absolutely. Well said, mate. Great comment. Sutty, I'm really going to be interested to hear your views on yesterday and obviously the situations and stuff like that. So if you want to get stuck in, that would be great.
Wow, going on what the lads have just said about the referee and stuff like that. Do you get that feeling we're like laboratory animals? We'll try everything new out on Wolves. Have you noticed?
Mate, that's a great point
when Lamina got sent off. Lamina gets sent off. Nobody even knew that rule existed until it happened to Wolves. And now we're starting to play every single second. Yeah, every single second. No, they ditched it, Dave. That rule's ditched now. It don't happen now. They've scrapped it. So this one yesterday, okay, it worked in the World Cup, and we knew we were going to have every single minute added in the World Cup games. But we knew from the start, Dave. We knew it from the start. So why change and start in a game that's, well, there's one game left. Why start it now? I mean, it's just ridiculous. He is a bit on par. Well, he's on par with Kevin Friend. And I can't really repeat what I think of Kevin Friend after the Leeds debacle last year when he sent Raul off. If you want to do an after 12, Dave, I will tell you what I think of Kevin Friend.
And what? And after the and what is it? After the watershed.
That's now, isn't it?
Yeah, be long.
You can be very forceful. We just can't swear.
It would be the words probably wouldn't go amiss in one of Gary's shows, Jack's shows.
Yeah.
So I think Kevin Friend and Mr. Coots, they are poor to say the least. Sign language is always the best. Yeah. I don't know, Dave. I just thought it seemed like an end of season testimonial. It shouldn't be like that, Dave, really. Because let's not us forget the £2 million for every place you finish in this league. Now, I'm chuffed Forest have stayed up because they have £1 million now.
Do we not get an extra 5 million?
If we finish up
Do we get an extra 5 million because they've
Yeah,
stayed off
for
Gibbs
5
White?
million for Gibbs White.
Nice. Sutty, you're freezing. Sutty's frozen. I'll tell you what. Someone's come up and pulled the plug on him because they can hear him talking. Gary, Jack will come to you. And
It's Kevin Friend, I think.
Kevin Friend and co has sorted out
10 minutes.
You sorted out his internet. Jack will come to you. Obviously, you've heard what was said. You obviously go to the games, don't you, Jack?
Yes, mate. Yes, I've got a season ticket in the South Bank, mate.
In the South Bank, and how fantastic are the flags in the South Bank now?
Do you know what? I'm really glad it picked up because I genuinely get my throat's like this for a reason. I genuinely get angry with like the sort of younger lads around me because past few games have been terrible, and I'm thinking you're so lucky and privileged, to be watching this. I mean, even now, like watching the Standard, we haven't been great this season, but to be in the Premier League and we're established and we've got Neves and Moutinho on the pitch, it's unbelievable. It was unthinkable for us, weren't it? Like you, some of you older fellas really saw some dark times. So it was really nice to see the atmosphere pick up. I thought it was brilliant yesterday. I had a great day with there was a couple of, you probably saw the beach balls knocking about in the South Bank. It was a good crack.
Absolutely. And what did you make of the performance, the game? Any points anything that stood out for you, of players and stuff like that?
I genuinely had a better time with the beach balls, singing "Can we have our ball back" to the police and the stewards. I think it summed us up from it sort of epitomises our season. Like we were sort of neither here nor there. We never really took a hold of the game like we should have done. We should have buried him in the first half. I think there was a sort of a spell of maybe 15 or 20 minutes where
we scored the goal. It was like the Alamo, wasn't it? They fell apart almost. We just couldn't get the second goal. Pickford made 2 or 3 good saves. He kept him in it. I mean, that save again from Nunez, that was in about the 6th minute of added time. And it, if that had been half an inch to the left, he wouldn't have got his toe on that, but he got his toe on it and saved it. And of course, they got the equaliser, didn't they?
Yeah. It's just, I think it sums us up, really. We've got to start. I mean, some of them, there's probably 5 teams that deserve to go down. Like, I know there's only 3, but there's 5 teams who have been absolutely awful. And if Leeds beat us twice, they haven't had that. Yes,
mate. Teams that get relegated, it's in the Premier League rules that if they go down, they are allowed to beat us twice. Leeds. Who else was there this year?
Huddersfield.
Leicester. Huddersfield. Back in the day, they only won 3 games all season. 2 of them were against Wolves.
I ain't surprised at all. That is, I mean, people talk about being Spursy. That's so Wolvesy sort of thing,
It blooming well is. It's just the Wolves' way, isn't it? And I think one of the points that we talk about here, and Sutty's mentioned, and we've talked about a lot, is next Wolves have got to stop being so charitable to these teams. We lost to Bournemouth at home as well. Now, you've got to give a lot of credit to Bournemouth and the job that they've done. I mean, I wrote them off. I think we all did. And that chap's got them out of trouble and safe. And you have to say fair play. And they might not have the talent of some teams, but they've got a real team about them. And they've got themselves out. I mean, Leeds today, 1-0 up. And they're a poor side. They lost again to a West Ham team that's got their eye on something else, 3-1. Leicester, when they beat us, I think they've only beaten us again in the last 15 games. It was against us, of course it was. But I thought all the Leicester fans were thinking, we're going to stay up now. And, they're looking for a miracle Monday night. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people write these teams off. I mean, Everton going away to Brighton, I've never seen them beating them 5-1, and it happened. So you don't know if Leicester are going to pull off something tomorrow night or not. I mean, Newcastle need a point to get Champions League, but Leicester have really got to go to Newcastle, and they've got to win that game, because if Leicester go for that and they win it, then if they win their last home match of the season against West Ham, who've got the eye on the Conference League, they stay up on goal difference, even if Everton beat Bournemouth. So the relegation battle's fascinating. Josh, coming back onto you, in regards to, I want to talk now, guys, if I can, about the Raul Jimenez, Neves, Moutinho wasn't there. Where was Pedro Neto? Moutinho was the big one for me because he wasn't on the walk. You know, he's been with us for a long time. Last game at Molineux, probably. Why wasn't he there? Raul Jimenez, what's your feelings about the fact that he didn't come on? Some people have slated Lopetegui. I think Lopetegui in his press conference thinks, well, maybe I should have brought him on. I don't know. Although he did get the fans singing his name on the touchline, he got the lap of honour. He was very emotional. Neves, again, guys, I don't say the goodbye to Neves. I say farewell because you just don't know. I mean, he went off, but we saw it last year. He went off all emotional thing. Where are you sitting on all of those points, Josh? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
So let's start with the main one. It's Raul, and I said to my brother, 1-0 up. I said, if he comes on, he comes on. If he doesn't, he doesn't. At the end of the day, we've still got a job to do. We've still got to get the 3 points. And like Sooty says, each place in this division is worth 2 million more if you finish next position up. So Julian's got a job there to think of, what do I want to do? Who do I want to play? And let's be honest, Raul, no offence to him, he hasn't been at the races at all this season, has he? He's never been in the frame. You had the World Cup debacle with him as well going. I was gutted he didn't get to play, but if you take a step back at the end of the day, you look at what Lopetegui's trying to do, what he's done. He needs to carry this momentum of the group that he's got, that he's going to keep into the next pre-season and next season. Yeah. So he can come out and say he may have made a mistake, but really he's only making a mistake to the fans that wanted him to definitely come on. Because let's be honest, not all of us, you see the ones on Twitter, and it's the ones that are always moaning, ones that have all said, oh, Lopetegui's to blame, oh, this, that. It's like, he's kept us out of relegation, he's kept us in the league. He needs to get the players he wants next season on side and do what he needs to do.
I feel like we've got a cricket in the background somewhere that's clicking away, and I can't figure out where it's coming from. We've got like a little gremlin.
So I've just muted.
Yeah, can anyone?
Okay, I can mute.
Can you hear the cricket?
Yeah.
Stopped for me now.
And me. Stopped.
Yeah, very strange. Anyway, carry on with your points, Josh.
But yeah, to be fair to Raul, I can see why he wanted to come on. We all wanted to come on, but at the end of the day, we've got to thank him for what he's done, the years he's had with us. A big part of us for getting into Europe was the goals he scored. So that's what we've got to remember. We can't go to the fact of where people are moaning, saying Lopetegui should have started him, and people turning on him because of it. You've got to remember the job Lopetegui's done and the job Raul's done for us when he's been in the team. The Moutinho one I find a bit weird because if he fell out with someone and they're not in the team, he usually comes out, whether it's because he's realised we've clocked on to that term where he says it's tactical, and then the next week they reappear. But that statement he said where the will of the player and his situation, one, you suddenly think, he's off. The other thing that's playing in the back of my mind, was something happened family-wise. We don't want it to be anything like that, do you, or anything. So you don't know what's going on, but you'd have thought in his right mind he'd have even been there just to do the walk around at the end of the pitch, but he wasn't even there to do that, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really apologising about the sound quality. I just don't know where it's like someone's typing. Mm-hmm. I really apologise about the. It's like there's a. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, it's like some real interference or something.
Yeah,
it's like a mouse has got it. Anyway, we're gonna have to deal with it. Who's coming on what Josh has had to say about that, please?
Yeah, I mean Jimenez. Ultimately, I think as a fan, the sentimental, emotional sort of side of me, a bit of nostalgia, you want him to play, get sort of a send-off on the pitch. But as Josh has referenced, really, ultimately, I I suppose it's a credit to Lopetegui in a sense that he's that sort of laser focused on the game that it's just not a consideration. I mean, there's times where he's not been in the squad, been on the bench, he's not come on. You know, we all know about Jimenez pre-injury, and we know how fantastic he was. But ultimately, it's a competitive game, and you pick your best side. So, perhaps he's that engrossed in, the management of the game, his tactics, that he hasn't really got room for the sentiment. And he's ultimately in contract as well. So, yes, we expect him to go. But yeah, I as a fan, I would like to have seen him on. But really, when I look at it, I think, well, it shows that ultimately they are professionals, and Lopetegui is employed as manager of the football club. There's, as you say, millions of pounds at stake for league places, and Diego Costa, certainly for the last couple of months, has been effective, and Raul hasn't, and it surely should be as simple as that. And he hasn't really got the relationship with Jimenez, say Nuno had. He hasn't seen that side of him. All he's seen is arguably a player who hasn't performed, has gone to the World Cup when Lopetegui clearly didn't want him to go. I'm not saying he's holding a grudge for that, but if he's not fit or considered for the side, then this isn't a charity, is it? Really, it's the football club, and it's the integrity. So the fan, the emotional side of it, yes, I would like to see him play, but the head and the pragmatism from Lopetegui, I can't really disagree with. The Moutinho one, yeah, he appears a consummate professional, and it's a shame that I won't see him waving to us when he takes a corner again. And he's been bloody brilliant for us, hasn't he? To think that we're signing, I was brought up on Darren Ferguson and Steve Carica, so to see Joe Moutinho in the middle of the park, as Jack referenced earlier, amazing. To think that he's blessed our shirt is incredible. So it is a shame. I don't know what's gone on, and I'm not going to speculate. That people can assume, and perhaps they might be right or wrong. And then the others, the likes of Johnny Otto, they've not been playing, so he doesn't need a loyalty to them, So
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. To be honest, Hoops, I mean, you make some good points. And guys, if you're listening now, I mean, I am going to be talking next to someone that is very sentimental. Indeed, there's a lot of sentiment in what he's got to say, and that is Sutty. Sutty, I know that you're a very sentimental person, and on the Raul situation, what would you like to say about that?
No, Dave, not at all. I told you when he went to the World Cup, this gaffer told him, Dave, let's not knock this boss, Dave. Let's get a couple of things in place here. End of February last season, Dave, we're 5th. Bruno Lage has a huge fallout. He goes public on Keanu Hoover, and let's face it, Dave, they've all down tools. And this lot, down tools until Christmas, Dave, right? This man has come in. He has saved us. He's got 31 points, right? He's saved us, easily saved us. Okay, we can say, oh, there's been worse teams than us. There have. So that's helped us out a lot. But he saved us. But what I like most about him is he stamped his authority down. He's basically sifting through quite a lot of dead wood here, Dave. You can't keep hanging on to a sinking ship because it's going to take you down, Dave. That is what will happen. Now, all the best managers in world football, and I'll just give you one, Alex Ferguson. What they did every sort of 3 or 4 years, they rebuilt, and they didn't care for names, Dave, at all. David Beckham's, Jaap Stam's, all these people went, and we're all sat here as football supporters thinking, God, that bloke must be nuts. No, he wasn't nuts. He rebuilt again, and you can't run football teams and football clubs on sentiment. Now, you can throw your bib at me all you like, sunshine. On for the memories. You were great. You aren't anymore. And that's down to an horrific injury. It was horrific. But this is a big boys league, Dave. We can't out charity. We've got to do much better next season. It's not been good enough from top to bottom. The club, from Jeff Shee down, Sellers has gone. I'm pretty sure Jeff Shee will be gone in the summer. It's got to have a big change attack, because we don't back this man and let this man manage. And it's all about managing men here, and ultimately some huge egos. And if you let these huge egos get the better of you as the manager, and you're going to be in trouble, you're going to lose your job. So he has to be the top man. So they've got to back him. Hopefully they'll give him every penny from sales, and they've got to let him manage and do it his way. Now, this might not work overnight, Dave. It's no good getting to the end of next season saying, "Oh, we're halfway to failure." It takes time. This guy's got to have 3 or 4 transfer windows to build the team he wants. Saying, "Oh, in the summer, oh, it ain't working," you have to be patient. There'll be players heaps that we think, "Oh, I wouldn't have kept him," but you've got to let him work his magic and let him do his job. That's what it's about, Dave, at the end of the day. Now, João Moutinho, who knows? I've told you on here before about João Moutinho. Probably technically the greatest player I've seen in my 45 years of going to Molineux. 5 million quid. That is the greatest 5 million quid our club has ever spent. Now, okay, the legs are a bit shot, and we know he's on his way. You'll do well to see a more technically gifted player for Wolves in the rest of your life than João Moutinho for £5 million. Absolutely incredible. Now, he may have a new club. He may have gone to the manager and said, "Look, I don't want to risk any injuries or anything." But I find that I still think he'd have been there.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I don't know what's happened there. Same with Johnny Otto and Neto. What's happened to Neto? I mean, he's thrown the teddy out the pram. Look, if they're throwing the teddies out the pram, Dave, I will back this manager 100%.
I don't understand why Pedro Neto would throw his teddy out the pram when he's been out for so long. He had a really good game the last home match. He had a poor game away, was substituted at half-time. He's coming back from injury. He should be grateful to be on the pitch playing.
Would you take 35 million for Pedro Neto?
You double what you bought him for?
Probably, if someone came in for 35 million and he's a bit unproven and at the moment, you'd probably say, yeah, but I think Pedro Neto is, I think he's going to be every bit as good as Jota in time. I think his injury has curtailed him. I think he'll still be here next year, Neto. I think Pedence could be going. 1 year left on his contract. I think Wang Hee-chan will definitely be here because, Lopetegui really likes him. He seems to be getting the best out of him. Kuna, you've seen what Kuna's put on his socials about how he's really glad that he came. So that sort of message from someone like Kuna, who's just coming into the club and saying that, is real positive. You can see these players buying in.
Dave, he'll keep players that put a shift in for him.
Yeah,
likes of Huang, Cunha. Basically, won't rock the boat. I'm pretty sure we'll end up with a squad of that Lino had where it's so tight. But he's going to weed out the ones he doesn't want, and it might take a little bit of time. But I think look, on paper, Dave, he's the second most successful manager we've ever had at the club in terms of trophies. So
yeah,
hey, don't knock him. Give him the time. I'm still saying he'll come good, Dave.
No, well, I mean, I've been saying this all along. It's like at the end of the day, Lopetegui has got pedigree. All his total job this year, and I think he went on record last week as saying this is the biggest achievement of his career. He's won the Europa League. He's managed his country. He's managed Real Madrid. He's got Sevilla into the Champions League positions in Spain 3 years in a row, which they'd never done before. And he was telling me that wasn't telling me. It would be nice if he was ringing me up and telling me, hey, Dave, do you know what? But no, he said in his interview that this is the biggest achievement of his career. His whole job, phase 1, keep Wolves in the Premier League. That's it. Done. Job done. Phase 2 is to take Wolves up the table, to finish higher next year, to finish in the top half, to be chasing European football again, maybe have a good cup run, go as far in the cups. That's what he'll be doing. Like what people need to understand, Rome literally wasn't built in a day. It takes time. And Lopetegui built a team that played us off the park when we had a great... I mean, you look at that team and we put the picture up. They put the picture up, haven't they, recently, of and greyed out who's left from that great Europa League team that we had that went to the quarterfinals. Raul missed the penalty, the first penalty he'd ever missed, against Lopetegui's Sevilla team that played us off the park. That was a team that he built, and they won this. He knows how to win, but it's going to take more than 2 transfer windows. I think you're right, Sooty. I think it'll go some way in the summer, but I still think it'll take another couple of transfer windows till we see the best of this Lopetegui team.
Can I just say quickly, Dave, before Jack has his turn? Great players, Dave. Players who we claim are great should only be given the great title when they win things, Dave. And it's time a club of this stature started to win things as well, Dave. It's okay having nice memories and that. I make nice memories when I go to Spain every year on holiday with my missus and kids. But you can't keep saying, oh, we've had great memories. There has to be an end product sooner or later, Dave. So all this greatness terminology, for me, doesn't sit.
Fair comment. However, Jack, you're going to come in. I'm going to talk about things. When I look at the likes of Ruben Neves, and I would put him as a Wolf. I would say he's a Wolves legend for me, for the reason that he came to Wolves. He didn't have to. He took a drop down on his career. He became a boy, grown his family. He's committed. He's a club captain. He loves the club. He embodies the inspiration of the club. Yeah, he'll probably end up moving because he wants to win things and thinking we're not quite there yet. And we've talked about this with regards to Nuno and the investment. The board dropped the ball when they should have kicked that ball as high as possible and backed him. And you can't stand still in the Premier League. You stand still and you don't invest and continue to evolve. You go backwards. Aston Villa invested, gone past us. Brighton, fantastically well-run club. They've just qualified for Europe. Amazing. Newcastle, okay, they got the new investment, but they haven't spent bucket loads. They've got it right. These teams have gone past us, I think they've realised now that you have to continue. You have to back, and Lopetegui is a bit like Nuno in the fact that he will probably bump heads with the board, and we know that they sacked Nuno because he was, bumping heads. Lopetegui won't take any crap. And people have talked about the FFP in the questions, and they've asked about that. Lopetegui hasn't come to Wolves not knowing about FFP. He knows about FFP. Every club has to deal with it. He's not naive. He understands the situation. They've spent a lot of money in the summer. They put these messages out about FFP every year because in some ways it's a message to other clubs. We haven't got shed loads of money that we're just going to throw at it. We're going to have to do a proper deal. So it sets the expectations for the selling clubs that we might be going after their players as well, that we've got to work within these FFP boundaries. So like what you said, Keith, got to trust with the process, trust that they've got a plan. Hobbs and Lopetegui, they're basically the mastermind. Jeff will be signing off the checks. And we've got to see what happens in the summer. Jack, over to you on regards to Raul and Neves and Matinho. What is your take?
Well, I'm wondering, so with Otto, Matinho and Neto were all missing completely, is that right?
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm going to speculate. I wonder if Now I'm going to sound really stupid. Martinho, I was thinking, is it something personal or something? Something happened, something in his family or something like that? Because it's really, really weird. Like, would it be something daft, like a wedding or something like that? I don't know. I'm just guessing. I told you I'd sound stupid. Neves, in terms of Neves, I was going to say, I went to see Sting in concert in the 90s, and he said one of his songs, the lyrics are, "If you love somebody, set them free." And I think you should just crack on now, to be honest. But then again, I don't think Barcelona can't afford him. If Lopetegui's trying to get rid of Deadwood now, which is a good thing, then we don't want 3 nals from Barcelona coming in who we're paying a fortune for, who don't really want to be here. Do you know what I mean? So where's he gonna go? I don't think he's gonna get to Barcelona, genuinely, because I don't think you'll find 2 players who want to move from Barcelona to Wolverhampton. Are you on mute? I've lost the sound.
The other
Dave,
thing,
there you go.
there you go. The other thing I was going to say on that, Jack, is that it's all right them saying we'll give you this player, you give this player, and yeah, will they come when won't they come? And they've got to be the right players for us as well. You know, to me, if they want Neves, they should pay the 35-40 million for him, and we'll spend that money on the players that we want.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely, mate. So, is anyone getting feedback?
Yeah, we're getting a bit of echo.
Sorry. I was going to say that. I don't see anybody else in the Premier League. Interesting to see where he goes. Neto, that's weird. Personally, I'd like to see Pedence leave. I just don't like him. Being honest, I know his stats ain't too bad in terms of assists and stuff like that. And grabbing a goal, but no, I don't like his attitude. I don't like the way he rolls around on the floor. I think the way he was saying he walked past everybody, signing stuff. I think he's petulant. Can you hear me all right? I can't hear you, Dave.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of echo off you, Jack.
What is it? Why is that happening? I'm on my phone.
I've had to put you on mute there for a sec. Is that better, everyone? No. Something's really gone amiss there.
Let's see. Does that work?
No, there's massive feedback.
I can only suggest we all maybe go on mute unless we're talking and maybe go off camera, but I don't know.
Let me just drop everyone off for a second, but I'll bring you all back on one at a time. We'll work it out. Hold on. So, is there any feedback now? No. Hello, Josh.
You're right.
Any feedback?
That's fine there for me.
Drop you off a second. Hoops. Hello.
Hello.
Any feedback?
Are we okay? No, fine.
No, that's good. Drop you off. Sooty, how you doing?
Fine, Dave.
It's you that's the feedback. Have a look at the mic. So I'm going to try and put echo cancellation on. How's that?
You sound all right to me.
Echo cancellation on in the settings. Can you see? You need mic setting. It's your mic settings. Yeah. It's your echo. I'm gonna have to drop you off.
Do you want me to come off, Dave? Because it'll spoil it. Look.
Yeah, try logging back in again because it was okay before. Come out and then come back in and look for the echo. Cancellation.
All right, mate. I'll leave and I'll come back in then.
All right, cheers. All right. So it was Sooty that was having the problems with. So that's why. Does that should be better? Everyone in the chat. Does that sound better?
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to do that. I'll get Emma to edit that little bit out when she puts it onto the podcast. Jack, you were saying?
Yeah, did I finish slagging off Pedence?
Oh, yeah, go on. Carry on with the Pedence because we kind of missed it with all the echoing bit.
So, what was happening on about Lopetegui getting rid of sort of Deadwood and stuff like that? And was it Manny who was saying about Pedence walking past the kids and not bothering to stop? Or I just genuinely think he's really petulant on the pitch. And there's just something about him I'm not really keen on, and I won't mind seeing him move on, to be honest. But also, he does bring something, he brings something different when he's on his game. But he gives away far too many balls for my liking. He makes the wrong decision. He should have whipped the ball in yesterday. He got the ball out wide, done some nice work, and he should have passed it to Gomez, who was overlapping, and it was just terrible. He makes the wrong decision to me. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. There's a good point you think. And now I want to say that, Pedence is a very talented player. He's got lots of tricks and stuff. He scored 6 goals. He's, in that respect, he's been fantastic. But he does like his flicks. Since last week, he did a backflip and there was a back kick to nobody or something like that. And he does like those. That's Pedence for you. And you have to take it, and is he still our top scorer?
I think Hwang is now, isn't he?
Is Wang our top scorer now?
I'll have a look.
Wang does like tappings, doesn't he? Might be trying. We got Sooty back. Let's see whether that's better. Hello, Sooty.
All right, Dave.
That's better.
That seems like it's sorted itself out now, which is good. Good points on Pedence and everything. Guys, we're going to get on to highlight of the day moment, which can be anything from your entire day or the game, your performance rating and your man of the match. We're going to go with Hoops first.
Let's have a think. Just before that, I know we were talking about Barcelona players and not coming to Wolverhampton, but I think when they find out the Civic's finally open, I think that'll sell it for them.
And they're bringing Cheeky Monkey back.
Yeah, and there might be some local bands and some concerts they might want to see over here as well. So, but yeah, and a shout out to Jack. Genuinely, he's brilliant at what he does. So, get down and support Jack as well. So, but yeah, moving on to the... No, absolutely. Moving on to the game. So, I think 6.5. Really, I think I touched on that. Everton were poor. We weren't great. I think, we started poorly. We got slightly better. We had our best spell post the goal where we could have got a couple more, but 6.5 seems about right. Player of the match, we've just mentioned Hwang, and so I'll go with him. I think what you see is a work rate. He comes across as we talked about professionals. He seems as a guy who's got his head down. He's had his critiques during some of his time here, but he doesn't seem as if he's kind of moped about it and done sort of cryptic Instagram posts or anything like that. He's just got on with it. So credit to Hwang. Moment of the day, without me sounding a bit pompous, I was in corporate yesterday. Never really get the chance to do it, but
tell us more about how that happened.
Well, sort of friend of a friend thing. We'll keep it at that. But being in there and having a little bit of a different experience, enjoying some of the Wolves' little miniature steak and ale pies was a particular highlight, and an open fridge, so that was good. And also, I was on the table with the last Wolves manager, Steve Davis. So had a really good chat with him. Really decent guy, a fan ultimately, and no ego about him at all. Absolutely cracking bloke. So I had a great time with a bit of different company yesterday. And then, that's it really. If I missed anything out from my 6.5 Hwang, and that was my moment of the day. That's my thoughts.
Absolutely, that sounds really good. Josh, to you.
So I'm going to go with the moment of the day first because it's in the order of the day. I think the moment of the day was like jumping in the Lich Gate before the game. So my mum, my dad, one of my dad's best mates who we grew up with, his lads who were all mates with me and my brother, just all having a good drink and that before the game, and all walking up to the ground together after it. So that was probably my moment of the day. With all of us being what 2 generations of a family being together before the game. Match rating's got to be a 6 for me. I don't think it was our best, and like I said, it was an end of season, a typical end of season game. And then man of the match, I'm stuck between 2. The other one's only coming to me because a lot of people have mentioned him tonight. But I'm going to stick with the one I thought to begin with. I'm going to go with Adama. I thought it was one of his better games on Saturday. Whether that's because a lot of the players had already thought they're on the beach and he stepped up and carried on. But I thought we had a decent game yesterday, getting down the wing and putting the balls in. And that run he made first half, I thought was brilliant.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thanks ever so much, Josh. Jack, before we get on to you, I just wanted to know, because I was just thinking about it, how did you get into the comedy and where did Gary Poundland come? And what would Gary Poundland have to say about Wolves season?
Oh my God! Are you gonna ask me to do the voice? Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to. Yeah, we want to hear what Gary's got to say about it as well.
What I was gonna say. Give me 3 seconds.
Here come the glasses.
I always keep a spare pair. Got a bad point. It's been a right proper. What a joke! There we go. My throat.
That's
brilliant.
Dreadful. I thought my rating. I know there's been quite a few 6s and 6.5s. I'm gonna be harsh. I'm gonna say a 5.5, purely because we're incapable of seeing teams like this off who were awful. So 5.5, I believe they deserve a 6 for not seeing it out. I know there was 9 minutes added on and they scored in the 10th, but you've got to keep a clean sheet against a team that poor at home, in my opinion. Man of the match. I agree with Josh. I was going to shout Traore. I thought he had a tremendous game, and also he's sort of been overlooked a little. We've sort of overlooked him a little bit in terms of players leaving, and obviously Neves, Moutinho, Jimenez. But I was saying to my nephews, like I say, enjoy this because it's unlikely you're going to see a player that exciting. You probably will do, but you're talking about one of the fastest players in the world. He's been incredible to watch on his day. He's been unplayable. He hasn't done it consistently, but it's still been really exciting to watch. Man of the match, I'm waffling. I'll say Wang as well. I think he worked his socks off, and I think that might be part of the reason why Rel's not been getting a look in, because despite the injury, I think the last few times I've seen him play, I don't think the effort's been there like it used to be. He used to harass defenders, to get the ball back, and I think he sort of lost that. And I do think genuinely the head injury, obviously we know how big a deal it was, but he's never going to get over it, and quite understandable.
Absolutely brilliant.
But not running for taking. Go on, mate. Sorry, I'm waffling.
No. It was absolutely brilliant, mate. Absolutely well said and well thing. And I'm really glad that you've come on tonight. I know we've been talking for a few weeks, and you're able to make it tonight. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. We are going to go to our score predictions in a minute, but Sutty, first off, same questions to you. Your assessment.
I want to give it a 5 rating, Dave.
A 5.
You got to see teams like that off, Dave. They are poor.
Yeah.
Really poor. I don't care whether you got to pay 110 minutes extra time, Dave. They shouldn't be scoring. Their best player went off, so they shouldn't be scoring. But it is what it is, isn't it? Man of the match, I'm going to give it to Wang.
Yeah.
He's a changed bloke under this manager, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's going to have a big season next year if he can keep fit. I think he'll play a lot of games because he puts that effort in. And moment of the day for me has to be an Adama Traore picking the ball up in his own area, slicing through an Everton team, and it just lacked the goal, didn't it? But it gave us our goal, and that's what we all get out of our seats for. it's just not consistent. Because if he was consistent doing it, Dave, he wouldn't be at Wolves, would he? So that's it for me. But it's the end of a poor season, Dave. As I say, they've got to look at it from top to bottom. We as a contingent have got to look how we've performed as well, because Molineux's been, well, it hasn't like been in a rocking concert hall, has it? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? It's been quiet. It's been deathly at times.
Yeah.
So we've got to book our ideas up as well, because I can remember a time under Nuno, if we went behind, it got louder.
Yeah.
And that's got to come back as well. And just whilst I'm on here, away from football, I'm chuffed to bits that Jack's on here, because when I was 50 a couple of years ago, he did me a private birthday message. My other half got it because I love this kid. He's absolutely brilliant. And it was a bad time for me because I just lost my dad as well. So he made me laugh again.
Man, that's a lovely thing to say, man. I had a feeling you wouldn't like it for some reason when we came on, pal. So that's really surprised me.
Yeah. He did me a private birthday message, and they put it on a big screen for me. Oh, mate. But laugh the back.
That's fantastic. That's a great moment.
Thank you, loads.
That's
lovely.
That's nice. And to be honest, I mean, it's when you get to one of the things that we like about the channel and stuff like that is the community and stuff like that. And Keith will,
And when he did it as well, Dave, he just got over COVID. so he was struggling a bit as well, bless him. But it just, honestly, it'd been such a bad time, and it just lifted everybody's spirits. Everybody was in the room, and it come on a big screen, and we were just howling, absolutely howling. So it changed everything, Dave.
That's fantastic. That is, because like this at the moment, Gary. Jack. Sorry, obviously you were doing you're probably doing the Gary Poundland when you did that, and you've obviously done that a couple of years ago. And coming on tonight, you've seen what that moment and how that's lifted some of.
I'll send it you, Dave. I'll send it you on WhatsApp because I've still got it. I watch it loads because it just everybody I see who says, "Oh, I've been and seen Gary Poundland," I show it them. Brilliant.
So say tweet me, man. Send me a message. Let me sort you another one out. Let me do something.
I will do, mate. Thank you very much.
Something out, man. I was gonna say, thanks for watching it and laughing at it, because obviously without an audience, then I wouldn't be able to do it. So I really appreciate the support, man, and the fact. Do you know what? Because before I did this, I was just mentally ill. But now everyone's aware of it and laughs at it. It's like a good thing, So, nice one, pal.
That's great. That is fantastic.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Before we get to the score predictions for next week's Arsenal game to finish off on, guys in the chat, we've still got, over 200 watching live, which is fantastic. We've had over 200 the whole way through, and there'll be, loads watch it back, and there'll be loads that listen to it on the podcast. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you ever thought about becoming a member, support it helps support the channel. And we've got a private chat group on Discord that we chat every day, and Keith and everyone and Josh and stuff will tell you. There's quite a nice little community and the friendships that have been made on that. So that does help out the channel as well. Before we get on to that, leave, if you think you know what the secret word is, please put it in the chat now whilst we go around this. We go around for getting the score prediction. So I'm going to go from Hoops all the way back round to Sutty. So Hoops, Arsenal score prediction.
Oh, do you know what? I think a few weeks ago we didn't know what this game would be like. We thought there might be some riding on it for both sides, didn't we? So it's a little bit different now. We've been shocking away from home all year. So I'm going to say we're going to book that trend, and I'm going to say we'll get a 2-1 win.
2-1, okay. Jack?
7-0 to Arsenal. I can't see anything other than them levering us, to be honest. But I'd like to see us beat them. I don't know, mate. 3-1 to Arsenal. I think we'll get a goal.
Okay, 3-1. Josh?
My heart's saying we'll get something, but my head's saying the fact we've only won 2 away games all season, it's going to be another loss, unfortunately, for the last day. So I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. Sutty?
4-0 home win, Dave.
4-0. Now, listen, guys. Listen. I'm not wearing like a thing you or some people have said for next week. They've lost the title, right? They've lost the title. They let it go. It's gone. The young side, they've lost it. You know, they lost to Brighton at home last time. They've lost to Forest. You know, they're playing Wolves. They've got one of the worst away records all season. We've had the joy of Everton. We've had the comeback with 10 men against Southampton. It's odd. It's like for certain that Arsenal are going to come and get us next week and, like you say, you know, slap us 4-1. But because of that, we'll probably end up going and winning it. So I think we'll get at least a point, strangely enough. It would not surprise me in the slightest because of all these circumstances, because we've got no bloody chance at all. We'll go and get a result, because that would be so typical Wolves, that we'll go and end the season with an away win that we've been elusive all season against title challengers, second in the table, Champions League qualifying Arsenal, and that would just be so typical.
We owe them after last season as well.
Pardon?
We owe them after last season as well.
We do, mate. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting going down there. I mean, you know, I do hope all the people that have spent £28,000 to go and watch Arsenal lift the trophy and get a refund. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I had an email from someone said they were an Arsenal Red member. They were travelling over from a foreign country somewhere. And they can't get in the Arsenal end and stuff. You'll be going. You won't be bothered. I'll pay you all the money in the world. Whatever you want for your ticket. This was about 6 weeks ago. I never replied to the email. And that guy's watching. I hope you're glad you never spent that money, mate, because you know, it is what it is. Listen, it's been a fantastic show. Gary, Jack, sorry, I keep thinking about the go and see Gary Poundland's show, which is at the Halls. Let's just put the details up again for everyone if you're not sure. This is you've heard the story with regards to Sutty. That's going to be on at the Halls. It's a Friday night, the 23rd of June. This is a young man that is like making his way as a comedian. It's a big stage, it's his hometown show. If you get a chance to go and get a ticket and go down, I'm sure you're going to be in for a great laugh and a great night and see all those characters live. So check that out. And Jack, it's been absolutely brilliant you coming on tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I really, really have. It's been a pleasure, fellas. Thanks for having me. And it's really nice to meet you all. And I'm sure we'll bump into each other outside the Golden Palace next season.
Well, there you go. You made your debut now. Final words, Josh, Hoops and Sutty, one-liner to finish up on.
Roll on next season.
Roll on next season. Hoops.
One-liner. That's Jack's job. That.
You could have a one-liner to finish with, Jack. I'm giving you time.
You said roll on next season, Josh. I'll say roll on deodorant.
Roll on deodorant. I love it. Yeah, go on. Sutty.
Keep the faith.
Absolutely. Keep the faith. Guys, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining. If you've enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash a like. If you're brand new, subscribe. If you want to become a member, that would be amazing. But obviously, we continue to do the content for you free here on YouTube all the time. We will be back with all the run-up, the news, all the way up to Arsenal with a preview, and then obviously all the stuff after the game. And we will be keeping you attuned of all developments through the summer, anything related to Wolves here on the channel, on the podcast, on the social. And don't forget to check out our website, alwayswolves.co.uk, because we have some fantastic writers that write match reports, player ratings, things we've learned, and loads of other articles as well. Until then, to you and yours and your family, wherever you are listening or watching in the world, as Suki says, keep the faith. We are Premier League, and we will have one game left against Arsenal next week, and then we start level pegging on 0 points, and who knows what the second season of Lopetegui will bring. And it's, I will say we've had an absolutely crap season, and if we've had a terrible season and we end up 13th, just imagine if we have an half decent season, what we can do. Leave you on that thought. From all of us here, always Wolves.
Cheers.